whole system in India is one of the main reasons why our parents came here in the first place. The biggest one is poverty, yeah, which none of us like to admit now, because we all think our parents were millionaires when they came over. But actually, I doubt if any of us have ever sat down with our parents and said, Dad, tell me about your childhood and tell me why you came here and how you came here. Another myth is we all think that our dads were invited here by Queen Elizabeth because she sent a letter to them in the pen. Jarnal se तेरी तो बहुत लोड़ पई in the United Bakery ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ है ना तू आके bread बनाए थे. I think that's not the case. I know I spent my 20 years of my life talking to people who've come here and under what conditions they've come here and why they've come here. And the things they tell me, they don't match up to our perception of that. That's the first thing. The reason why people come here is because they're ducky to escape for a better life, or they've had a real bad life and they don't want their kids to go through the same thing. Now, for people like with the Kissaan laws, yeah, I don't think this is going away anywhere very quickly at all. I think we're in a standoff, and there needs to be now some skillful negotiation between the two parties. At one point, the Kissaan movement was nearly dead, but then it was got because of a few actions of a few individuals, but it got rescued by the actions of a few individuals, and now it's pretty good and thriving. And I think we've now got a standoff where one side is saying, well, we've done what we've done with the laws, we're not going to repeal them, because if we do, then everyone, when they want a law repeal, it's going to come and sit at Delhi and are going to start a protest. And that sends out a signal that we're weak. And on the other side, you've got a set of people who said, well, hold on, this is about our livelihood. We're not backing down until you give us a certain number of guarantees. And so you now have a standoff here between two parties. And the thing is, a lot of people don't understand. So I get a lot of commentators talking about it, and I listen to them and I think, you don't really understand what the matter is. You're just blindly shouting slogans, or you're saying what other people's listen to. The system for farmers in India has never been good. Has never been good. It is the only system in the world where the seller, which is the farmer who grows the crop, sells for the lowest price possible. Yeah, the customer buys at the highest rate possible, and the middleman makes the chunk of the money. Right? That's the only system at the moment. If it was so perfect before these laws came in 2017, 10,000 farmers would not have committed suicide. So in 2017, 10,000 farmers committed suicide because of debts and because of that system that was in place. Does that tell you that that is a sign of a successful system? No, it doesn't. But the new laws proposed, that's not the answer either. You don't replace the local middleman with companies like Amazon and, like eBay, the equivalent of that. What you need to do is to knock that whole system down and create a whole new infrastructure where the farmer, if he wants to sell something for 100 rupees, yeah, or sell his product for 100 rupees, then he gets to keep 80, 90 rupees of that. And the middleman only takes 10%. You've got stuff in India where the farmer sells for 100, his crop is then sold by the middleman to the consumer for 180. The middleman has made 80, doing F-all, acting as just an intermediary. He hasn't grown the crop, yeah, he hasn't packaged it, and all he's done is found a seller for the buyer. And that's where the system is flawed and it needs to be corrected. So the answer is to knock the whole system down and make a new infrastructure. No one's thinking about that at the moment. It's all about, right, let's go back to the old system where 10,000 people die a year. That's not good enough either. And in the middle of it, unfortunately, protesters are dying because of cold, bamariyan, suicides, COVID, and in between. And you've had about 250 people die so far. And they're the main breadwinners in their families. And now their families have lost a breadwinner, all because their main breadwinner decided to go out and protest. And during that protest, which has carried on for 100 odd days now, nothing has been achieved in that much. In fact, that what either side wants hasn't been achieved. And there's been no middle ground for negotiation. And that's it. We are where we are. We're at this standoff. And I think this is going to go on. I think the farmers are camped there for they can camp there for another 2 or 3 years. The government are hoping that April comes, Vaisakhi aa jandi hai, and inna ne saaryan ne ghar nu chale jana. That just isn't going to happen. This is going to go on. It's about buttering the farmers up, the farmers getting jamalio, losing their old support system, and then totally at the hand of these sort of companies. Exactly the same thing happened with the phone lines. So there was a company called BSNL, which was India's national company. These new companies come along and said, we'll give you free internet, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. Everyone dumped BSNL, BSNL flopped. All that was left were the big companies who then upped their prices and hiked them. There's no more free internet. Now we're going to charge you what I want. The same thing happened with public schools and India schools. So the Sarkari schools, were in place. The private schools came along, offered the low rates at first, excellent quality teaching. No one went to the state schools. Everyone went to private schools. State schools have failed. And now the private schools are hiking up the prices and pricing everyone out and charging what they want. The same thing happens. And this is the same model that is going to happen in the farming thing. And when that happens with the farming thing, then people lose their lives, people lose their livelihoods, and it affects a lot of people. I mean, the new system won't affect people with 1 acre or 2 acres because they don't grow enough land to go and sell them in the mandis. They used to sell it in their local markets. But it's going to affect the big landlords, and it's going to affect the middlemen who are making a lot of money, and it's going to help these big corporations enter into a market from where they were previously excluded or they haven't been in. And so they're licking their lips. The government are spending like 90,000 crores rupees a year on this failed system of MSP, which they call a minimum support price.
Yeah.
And so, of which only about 17% of farmers use anyway. Yeah, so the government are trying to get out of that 90,000 crore bills that they pay a year. Yeah, the farmers are saying, well, no, we want to keep it, especially farmers from Punjab and Haryana are saying we want to keep it because they're the two big farming states. And so you've got this terrible situation that's just happened due to a lack of infrastructure. And that's all it is. There's hardly an infrastructure for anything in India. And for the things that the infrastructure that there is, it doesn't go according to policy. It's like the roads in India. Yeah, they've all got road markings.
Yeah.
Right, and I know how many people go according to them. None, right? They've all got traffic lights there. How many people go according to that? Mate, when the railway crossing closes, people still cross. I've seen people take their scooters underneath there. So there's no obedience of that. There's no implementation of that, and that's what you get when you've got a structure, but you've got no one to implement it, and so or no one just cares about it.